And let's say in 2023 it was now 40,000. That means it has grown by 33.3%, which is like 33.3% times 30 years. So that's, let's kick off because I mean this is why we're here. We're here to talk finance. We're here to talk personal finance. So the first law I'm talking about today, or the first lesson I'm talking about today, is start thy purse to fattening. Now, yeah, the richest man in Babylon, if you are not careful, you might get bored because terms or the words that they use in the book is basically like the ancient days. So you hear a lot of diapers, you hear a lot of thou and some other things to get so. But then it's an interesting read, I promise you. So when I saw this first law, start diapers to fattening, right? You often hear about the concept of savings. I'm here to see is someone that is teaching about personal finance or finance that has not mentioned the word savings before, right? So you hear it a lot of times from different places. But then after reading or after coming across this start thy purse to fattening lesson more than once, twice, the third time, the fourth time, and I looked at the practicality of this law or this lesson, I realized that the issue people have is not actually with saving, right? Because if you look at today, right, you see that people can save, people have the knowledge of saving, even if some people will like say they might not be disciplined to save, you get, but they know about savings, right? And we even have gadgets or tools today that can help in your automation of savings. We have piggyverse, we have carrywise that you can lock your savings. You can tell piggyverse or carrywise to deduct a certain amount per week and then lock it, get. So these tools are available, right? But then after sitting down and carefully evaluating, I realized that the issue was not actually with savings, but the issue was with the use of the savings. Now you see, in my 100 level I saved a lot, and as at that time I used the principle 70-20-10, right? You hear a lot of principles regarding the use of your income. Okay, if your income comes, you hear some, they'll tell you do 60-30-10, 60 for expenditure, 30 for savings, then 10 for tithe and the like. That's if you're a believer. Like, but for me, I use the 70-20-10. So I normally save 20% of my income, right? And then I noticed that after I save, because like you've seen your money growing. After the end of, let's say, 2, 3, 4 months, you realize that you have a lot of money with you, right? And then I realized that when I released the savings, like when I got hold of it, I spent it on things like shoes, okay, bags, okay, some shirts, PS4 CDs, you get all these kind of things. Some I also spend it on food, so like find out you get enjoy yourself. You know, come this life to suffer. All these kind of things. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Yes. But then after doing this consistently for 2 semesters, I noticed that okay, the first semester I saved, I spent the money. When I came into the next semester, I was basically starting from ground zero. You get expecting my dad to send me money first week, you get second week, that was ground zero. Right? And I began to think that is this actually how it is meant to be? Like, okay, we'll just keep, if we have income, we'll save and then spend it on something, have income, save and spend on something. Is this how it's meant to be? This is how the system is. And then I realized that this was not actually how it's meant to be because I studied some people and I did a greater research on how to actually utilize your savings. And then I realized that the greatest use of your savings, right? And I always tell people, I mentioned this during the session one when I was talking about the real triangle making of money. That the greatest use of your savings is in the purchase of an asset or an instrument or anything that can yield income in the future. And then when I stumbled upon this, I sat down to realize now this is actually the best use of savings. I'll give you a practical example. Let's say you have the love for photography. You want to take good pictures and like so you notice that this instrument, the cameras you use, the tripod stands you use, okay, if say you want to do mobile photography, you want to use your iPhones and like this thing costs money, right? And you're not just going to get it to get like it's not just going to come to your hand per se. Get so you have to purchase it, right? And then if you are saving, right, with the goal or with the mindset that okay, I want to buy a new camera in the future, and then you purchase the camera with your savings, you realize that okay, if you're now beginning to take photos of people, that can yield income for you. Now let's now compare it to my 100 level days. You get, I'll just buy something and then the money is gone. Nothing is yielding income for me compared to this other guy that bought a camera that can yield income for him. So this is where the issue is. And you don't really have to follow this particular framework I'm talking about. Like, you don't really have to say, okay, because Crispino mentioned photography, that's the only thing I can buy. It cuts across different fields, right? Let's say you want to go into UGC content creators or content creation. This is where like people create content for brands. Of course, you need your microphone, you need your LED lights, all these kind of things, your ring lights and the likes. This will cost money. So if you are using your savings to purchase these assets, right, you know that these things can bring income for you in the future. So this is the best use of savings, and this was something that I got from actually reading and will I say meditating on the words from the richest man in Babylon. And that's why I'm sharing it to you today. So just to reiterate and just for you to keep that point in your jotter, your notes, on your walls, or wherever you want to keep it to remind yourself, the best use of savings is in the purchase of an asset that can yield future income to you. Right? Now let's now look at the second lesson from this book. You need to control your expenditures. Now, this was part of the 7 laws of money according to the richest man in Babylon. Control your expenditures. You should not be spending more than you need. And I strongly believe that people have difficulties in differentiating between a want and a need, right? And for me, how I tend to draw the line between a need and a want is that if the purchase of that thing, right, does not amount to any dire consequence, then it is not necessary. I'll give you a practical illustration of that, of something that happened to me in my 300 level, 400 level too. So I had my laptop working and everything was fine. Right, but I had a lot of pressure too because like most of my guys were getting MacBooks. Like a lot of pressures that okay, no, get your MacBook now, get your MacBook. But then I sat down like my laptop is working perfectly now. Like 1 terabyte space, get 60 gigabyte RAM, and I can do a lot of things on it. I'm like, do I really need a MacBook now? No. So even if I had the money at that point in time, no. Get there's a difference between a need and a want, and this is something that if you're going to, well, I say, go far in your money journey, in your personal finance journey, you need to differentiate between a want and a need, right? And it has a way of drastically affecting your um personal finance management, right? You need to be able to resist that urge to show off. You need to be able to resist that urge to buy things that you don't need at that point in time. You need to be able to succumb pressure, right? I'm even thankful that I have friends who also worked in this light. Um, some of these people I know, there are times where they will show these attributes, and myself I'll be like, this is pretty nice. I know there was a time where one of my guys' father owns Toluwalope. I don't know if you might know him, Sha. So he were going to calf, you get, and he had in his mind what he wanted to buy, what he wanted to spend, you get, and then some people came along, you get, and were like, some girls came along and they were like, buy this for me now, buy this for me now, buy this for me now. And about the time, I'll just watch it to see what he would do, you get, and the way he handled the situation was so calm, like he was not he didn't leave you feeling bad for yourself per se, you get, but like he stuck to his own principles that okay, he's not going to spend more than this today, get, and this is something that you have to abide in, and it takes practice, get. It's not like the first time will always be the hardest, to be honest. Just like you will hear that your first million is the hardest, the first time you are doing something will always be the hardest, but as you practice in it, you get, you will get used to it, you get. And we've differentiated between the want and the need. That's something you need to understand in controlling your expenditures. Another thing or another part of this I would like to look at is on the area of impulse buying. I know a lot of people have issues with this impulse buying. They go to a shopping mall and okay, they have a list to buy something, but then because you see the way the shopping malls are is like they everything is just strategic. You get. I heard Dr. Larry at some point talking about one of my will I say my respected mentors in the leadership field. It was talking about this that you see the way shopping malls are placed or the way the goods in the shopping malls are placed is that once you walk into that place, you might want to just buy one thing to get, but you find out that you are actually buying a lot of things after your whole shopping experience and all. And he gave certain illustrations, just like the way the those boxes, those things that you carry, you get to put your goods inside are strategically placed in certain locations. You get, you might walk into the shopping mall, you get, and you might just want to buy okay a toothpaste and a brush, you get, but then you see everybody else coming in with you see the line people are buying four packs of indomie, 20 boxes of cereals. That does mean a lot of things, and you yourself just look at what you have in your hand and you're like, okay, I should buy this. You get, so you just go back and then you just pick some things that you don't actually need to get, but because you just want to, you get, it's a part of the psychology of shopping. So like these are the things you have to watch, you get, and then how do you actually, because now we're talking about impulse buying, right? You just buy based on certain pressures and certain situations and all. But then how do you actually stop these things, or how do you actually work on it, right? So the way I did it, or the way I handle my own situations, is that I tend to only carry cash, especially when I'm going to areas where I know that these pressures will be much. If I'm going to a shopping mall, okay, let me just give an illustration. In Corona University, right? When I'm entering the shopping mall, you get, you 95% of the time you always find me with only cash to get personal shopping. Yeah, because I know that if I carry my card, there's a great tendency that I will spend more to get. But if I'm carrying my cash, I can't spend more because it's only the cash to get that I can pay for. So I tend to just drop my card and then use only cash. So that was one thing I did. And then you can also politely refuse. That's another thing. There are several things you could do. For me, if let's say I plan to only spend 1.5 and then someone is like just whining me, hailing me to come and buy something for him, I'll be like, sorry please, I only plan to spend this today. Simple. You get, there are several other ways, but like these are the top two methods that I use. And why is controlling your expenditures actually important? Now it's because of the savings allowance gap, something I refer to as the savings allowance gap. And I came about this after carefully studying um, the income and expenditure movement. Now, if you look at it, right, the amount you can save is dependent on the amount you spend, right? Because income minus expenditure is equals to your savings allowance, right? And when you um your expenditure is not now controlled, it will have a great effect on the amount you can actually save. Because like if you're that person who will always spend, you get, overspend, like spend more than what you need, spend on more than what you need to get, especially that you might not have the ability to get to save as much as you can to get. So you should watch your expenditures, because you don't want your expenditures encroaching into your savings. Because like I said, you're looking at that first lesson we learned, your savings is meant to be used for the purchase of an asset. So if your expenditure is encroaching into your savings, then it means that the ability for you to purchase that asset to get is minimized. So this is why it's essential for you to control your expenditures, right? Now let's now look at the third lesson. I hope we are getting value so far. I hope we are getting value so far. This is why we are doing this, right? All for your benefiting. Now make thy gold multiply. This was also part of the 7 laws of money, and the third lesson that we learn today. Now, what I got from this is the wise way of investing, right? Now, So many people give different purposes for investment. Right? If you go through different articles, if you go through different personal finance programs, there are different reasons why people want to invest. Right? But then I summarized my own. I looked at all these things, get meditated on it, um, uh, just try to deeply understand